Hi everyone, and welcome back to another Bork No Game video. Today's video is dedicated to my biggest regrets for clan battle, so let's go ahead and talk about it. So one of the things is probably trying to get my timing right. So let's go ahead and go into my personal logs and show you what I'm talking about. So you can see here my clash for Mesarthim, 527, pretty decent, right? But the thing is when I was doing my trial runs, I was actually getting like 531 as auto damage. So sometimes it's just not best to do timing if you know your auto team can do a little bit better and you can tweak certain things during the auto run in order to make it just a slightly bit better. But that I mean, like, sometimes it's just best to auto and get more consistent damage versus trying to time things if you are uncomfortable. Keyword uncomfortable with timing. So I tried practicing like Mesarthim for like an hour straight, 3 hours straight with like this Cowrie team, and once it came down to like performance time, I got nervous a little bit and I lost like 20k damage or 30k, however, and over time that adds up. But the thing is I think it's just more important to get the auto team established and then try to tweak that auto team, versus if you run things on manual, there are teams that will like exceed much better, like expectations, everything. But I think it has to do with the fact that you are getting a little bit better on your timing over time, but there is like some RNG involved, not too much. But my biggest advice is definitely go auto if you just feel like during like the actual timing phase, like you just like mess up. And I definitely started doing more auto. I'll show my runs after, but that is definitely my biggest recommendation. Don't focus too much on timing, just because sometimes it can be a little bit unnecessary, I would have to say. There's certain situations where timing is good and there's certain situations where it's not as good, right? So the next thing that I wanted to cover was going into the shop and actually focusing my resources a little bit better. I don't think Nozumi, Maho, or Yukari, they were like very useful during like the clan battle, right? I feel like Mitsuki is the character to technically go for during our earlier phases of clan battle, just because of the fact that, physical damage is going to be better and her debuff is absolutely excellent for timing. And if I just had like a 3-star Mitsuki, it would have been much better, just because you can get her max bond level, she has higher stats, and I feel like she is an MVP alongside like Makoto, right? Nozumi is decent, but like she doesn't feel as impactful as a 3-star Mitsuki did when I saw the numbers and I pretty much tried to use one on some of my runs. So I definitely regret not like making her much better. And then for Arena, I have to say that Hiyori seems to be standing up for my team, so I'm going to invest more in her. Tamaki, of course, she's great for PvP, and same with Monica, but their performance for me during clan battle, it varies, right? There's some situations where they're good, but most of the time I am able to use Hiyori and bring out more of her power. I want to 3-star her and like see where it goes. It's just one of those things where certain teams just react better, and that'll follow another tip later. And then for Princess Arena, I think you guys already know this, Kaori, even if she's waifu, she's definitely like one of the best characters for clan battle, and she'll continue to be great for the next 6 months moving forward. Looking into that, I don't suggest focusing in on Miyako unless you're more future seeing in different content, because Kaori's definitely going to be the one for clan battle. I think you guys already know Miyako's not meant for clan battle. She'll be good in other places, don't get me wrong, she's still a fantastic character to invest in, especially for PvP, but Kaori has like completely shown how useful she is because her damage is overwhelming during clan battle. Alright, and this falls along like my next thing, and probably the most important tip that I have is during clan battle, it's important to try different teams. I thought it was like I could use the cookie cutter team where it was like Jun, Makoto, Kaori, and then like XYZ unit where it'd be like Kokoro and someone else, right? It really wasn't like that. There are some bosses where some characters are better. Like, so for example, on the June teams, you can definitely tell I dealt less damage. Obviously, there's a different team dynamic, but it's just one of those things where each boss has a specific situation where some subset of characters are better. So you can't face tank against like Beowulf. This dude hits like a truck. You can't use Cowrie, but here during the sheep boss, you can definitely use Cowrie. And what happens is each boss has an optimal team. There isn't a such thing as like the perfect team that can just tackle every single boss and have optimal damage. What I've been noticing based off of like reports and just people like looking over the clan's overall different runs and like the reports that they do, because everyone has varying damage, even if you're at the same level, even if you're using the same exact units. Of course, stars, they do like differentiate some things, right? But what I'm saying is like the more pretty much regular teams are the ones that are doing better damage. Like for example, not running June in some situations, running Makoto even as a face tank. So there are definitely a lot more hidden teams, I would say. And of course, I'll show you like my teams and what I'm running with. Of course, not everyone has, you know, the capabilities to run all these different teams, because I understand not everyone has those resources and everything. But it's just something to put out there where, you know, there isn't such thing as the perfect team. It always seems to be situational, and that's the kind of game Princess Connect is, where, you know, your PvE team is different from your PvP team, and your PvP team will be different from your dungeon team, and your dungeon team will definitely be different from your clan battle team. And this is what makes Princess Connect such a complicated game in some ways, where, you know, there's not one cookie cutter team that technically carries you to #1 per se. You can definitely tackle the content, but you won't be the greatest trying to run a cookie cutter team every single time against all the different bosses. Experimentation is definitely key. All right, let's go ahead and cover the sheep boss and talk about a few things. So when it comes to running this guy, I think one of the biggest things will be getting the circle right. So Mitsuki and her overwhelming ability to do defense downs, this was a downfall for me because I was not paying attention to this animation. And watch the differences. So I casted Makoto's UB at the 50-second mark because that is the timing that I'm used to, but sometimes that timing doesn't work properly. So for example, in this case, Mitsuki is drawing her circle now. That's when I should have casted everything. And look at the damage that Susanna dealt. It was 46k. And those are like the small things that will really carry your clan like boss damage, where you can time your skills to, you know, defense downs. And if I just did that properly, Cowrie would have hit for like 29k and Makoto would have hit for 13k. Granted, the timing would have been a little off because I would have been at the 40-second mark. And this is where sometimes timing doesn't work out properly in some ways, because this sheep boss is super like RNG. He'll hit whoever like he wants depending on the situation. It's really annoying. So you can see here Mitsuki is going to draw her circle. And note here, I casted Makoto's UB and I did 13k. Look, Cowrie did 29k, and then Susanna deals 46k again. So it's those little things for me. If I just did that a little bit better, I would have been able to do like the 550,000-ish damage, but instead I deal like barely like 520, which is still amazing. Like, don't get me wrong, but it's one of those things where I knew if I just did it on auto, it might have been better. And sometimes auto is definitely key, like we talked about earlier. And you can see here, damage is okay, nothing too bad, right? Of course, it's still amazing, and, you know, feel free to copy my team. If you have more stars, it'll definitely work out better. All right, so let's go ahead and run this team where I'm running the June version, right? Note here, Makoto is definitely the support to always go for, and I was like picking certain things because sometimes it's not best to run the level 68 4 or 5-star Makoto that someone has out there. It's actually better where there's higher levels. In my situation, for some reason, the higher starred Makoto doesn't work out. I think it has to do with like the TP gains and stuff, but I'm not really going to get into it, and let's talk about this run. So for this one, you can obviously tell I'm doing things on auto. And why is that? I tried getting the timings right, and the thing is with June's tackle, it's very difficult to get her tackle and then Makoto's howl and UB all synced up together. But you can see here that this team is sort of auto friendly. By that I mean you saw Makoto was able to cast her UB before Mimi casted hers and before Cowrie also cast hers. So it's sometimes better to run a auto-friendly team in some ways. That way you can get the proper damage off, right? Because there's some situations where Makoto's able to deal her UB first. And you can see here, it pretty much eggs on the other people's damage and it works properly. Where Tamaki is a little bit awkward. She was still technically the better physical DPS that I can fit into this team. Maybe I could have run something different, but for this case, I was like, man, this is the one that works. I'm able to get 406k. All my other teams were hitting like 330. So this is the one that I chose to run specifically, right? And a couple of things where I was just like, man, I don't think it's just sometimes worth it to get the timing, because for that team that we just saw earlier, the timing when I tried it, it was just all over the place and it just didn't work out. And Kodo pretty much UBs after or before the DPS, everything ends up working out, right? Just because Makoto needs to go first when everyone casts her UBs. That's like the key takeaway, right? Okay, let's go into this run where pretty much I'm running a very weird team here because I have like Shori and then Eriko. And it was like one of those things where I was like so like confused with this. I was having a really hard time. So I actually go like with Shori just dealing her UB before Makoto's. I tried timing this one, it just wasn't working for some weird reason. Like there's some teams where even if you get the timing right, it's just not to a point where it can beat auto. I don't know what it is, maybe I'm just terrible at timing stuff. But sometimes like I can get more UBs off and it's better to just cast the UBs instead of waiting for Makoto timing. Sometimes it just works out this way. And if you didn't know, when I'm madly kicking, it actually, you know, lets me cast the animation. So you'll see here at the end of the run where Eriko has like 1 second left and she needs to cast her UB because he has her UB off. And if I don't click it, I pretty much don't get it like going. So at that 1 second mark, the computer does pretty much fail to actually get that timing on properly. So it's those little things where you can also min-max auto in some ways. I compiled some more information. Here are 2 more Google spreadsheets that I feel like you should use and I didn't really fully use them. Here is like a template guide for teams. Just note that when it's providing this information, it's also providing stuff from future clan battles, and mostly everything is all tentative, right? It's from Games With, App Media, Shizuru's notes, probably like wiki information. I feel like Ristia's notes is probably somewhere in here because, you know, Ristia is awesome. And for the most part, you know, feel free to follow these teams. My highest suggestion is that sometimes feel free to experiment with your teams like I showcased earlier, because there are some teams that are hidden away that will deal more damage based off of your levels and everything, right? And the next thing is going to be this planner. Credits go to Boss for pretty much creating this. It's so simple, it's so easy to follow, and you know, you just add like the 3 damages you did for the day, it totals it up, and everything's already done for you. So if you click it, you know, it's already like in formulas. So feel free, file, make a copy, do whatever you need to do in order to get your hands on this. And then I'm making a lazy mode where it's just like your total damage for the day versus like inputting each damage over time. And this one's sort of out of date. I think one of the biggest things for me was proper planning during clan battle, where if I could just see my damage like this, right, where, you know, I could input it in each section, because as a clan leader, it's sort of stressful managing everyone and making sure everyone's doing their attacks. So with this, even though we're semi-casual / pretty much semi-competitive, we can see like more things, and maybe we can add like team sections like down here or something. But I see a lot of potential with stuff like this. So thank you so much to Boss for putting this out there, and thank you to the user for pretty much showed, you know, the different betas for, you know, clan battle, second clan battle, third clan battle. All right, and that's it for today's video. Thanks so much for watching. You know, if you made it this far, consider subscribing, dropping a like, leaving a comment. Follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter. Once we hit 15k subs, we'll be doing a giveaway. I hope you're having a good time in clan battle. As stressful it is, I think it's pretty fun. Thanks so much. I'll see you.